will end with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champs, 11-6, same coach, same offense. Matt Nagy is the OC. He ain't calling plays. That's all Andy Reid. Matt Nagy is simply there as eye candy, such as Eric Bieniemy was for all those years as well. Remember when everybody was angry Eric Bieniemy wasn't getting head coaching calls, and now he wasn't even in this last circuit? Maybe, just maybe, it's because he wasn't good. Just a thought. Just a thought. Projected starting offense, Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback 3, and Carson Wentz, who in a social media video almost broke his ankle walking into practice, is the backup. That's not a joke. Go look at it. He slipped on the turf walking down the cement and almost fully twisted his ankle. That's not a joke. Classic Carson Wentz.
You're
Isaiah
wild
Pacheco, RB1 at RB10.
This is every night, Hoov.
Yeah. CEH, RB63, fall from grace. Ryan's forever prince, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I've officially moved the new prince, generic prince.
I was about to say, who could be supplanted by generic prince, RB66.
I am officially done with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Wow.
I've washed myself up.
Wait for week 5 when CEH has 2 receiving touchdowns and Ryan's shoots him right up to the top of the waiver wire.
I didn't cut him on any team that I have.
He's just on the taxi squad.
I'm just done with him.
Oh, okay. The receiver room, weirdly busy in terms of ADP.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, 32, 37, and 38 respectively. And then the dog, 19th overall draft pick, punt returner, Kadarius Toney's the wide receiver 4, at wide receiver 100, and Mecole Hardman, wide receiver 130. Travis Kelce, obviously the tight end 1 at tight end 2. Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, 43 and 44 respectively. We'll start in the backfield with Isiah Pacheco, the earth stomper himself. I don't really know what to think about Isiah Pacheco because I think if he was on any other team, he would just suck. So who can maybe pitch me on Isiah Pacheco or tell me why he sucks and make me feel better about myself?
I don't know. I mean, that there's some guys in the NFL that when you look at, it's like they're not like super high profile and they just don't like take your eye towards the screen. But to me, I mean, I like those hard hits. So like I'm an Isiah Pacheco guy and I like that deep hits right up the middle. So that's why I get drawn to that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's never it's not always the high profile guys. It's not always these first round, second round running backs that end up being like Hall of Fame caliber. And when you look at someone like Isiah Pacheco with the trajectory that he's going in his career and with the team that he's on, there's no reason to believe that, like I'm a generic Prince guy. I drafted him in Scott Fishbowl and got that late value. I also picked him up in like 2 weeks before he got those RB2 snaps at camp in a deep dynasty league as well. So I was jumping on that beforehand. And so I'm not worried, but I want that reassurance anyways. And so like we've seen it with the history of the Chiefs is that they've basically run a guy for a long time until he's not, and they bring someone in and there's no reason to believe that Isiah Pacheco is going to fall off anytime soon. So like I was alluding to earlier is that there's just guys that they might not be high profile, but they just get the job done and they can be trusted by the coaches. And Isiah Pacheco in an Andy Reid offense being that guy that he's just hard hitting, gets the job done, gets those yards you're asking for, and is a major contributor to a Super Bowl caliber team. Like, I don't know why anyone would be fading Isiah Pacheco, in my opinion.
Ryan?
And if without Jerick McKinnon, he maybe has to play more snaps this year. If they're not going to trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I can't imagine unless Eric Prince shows some crazy shit during the preseason that they're going to put him out there to protect Patrick Mahomes, we could see more of Pacheco this year. I'm with you, Joe. He's just kind of vanilla to me. Again, we've talked about this with somebody on the 49ers, Brock Purdy. He's the Brock Purdy of running backs, I guess. Whenever he's on the board, I switch the position. I go and look at wide receivers, or is it time to take my first tight end? He just doesn't do it for me. And I know Liz Loza last week was all about him. So Hoov is definitely on the correct side of this argument, because if Liz is on the opposite side of me, that's the side you want to be on.
So he sits at RB10. I don't like the guys going around him. I think I would just rather have. There's one exception, but we're going to would you rather again. Would you rather Travis Etienne or Isiah Pacheco, Hoov?
Etienne.
Ryan.
Etienne by far.
Josh.
Etienne.
That's not even close. Derrick Henry or Isiah Pacheco, Hoov?
Isiah Pacheco.
Ryan.
Henry.
Josh.
I was going to say, I do have Pacheco ranked higher, but I would definitely draft Derrick Henry over Isiah Pacheco.
If you sat there and you saw those two on the board,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's
I'm
Derrick Henry.
going to draft Derrick Henry. The biggest reason I have Henry lower is because I'm just not 100% convinced that he's going to see a decent amount of receptions. And I think that Isiah Pacheco can.
Well, and that could push Pacheco to a whole new height, because, as I said, they don't have Jerick McKinnon there, and they're clearly not going to trust CEH. So
No.
I like CEH more than I probably should admit. But
believe me,
I
as
am
someone
a
who's
lot
been
more
there.
worried about Keaton Mitchell than I am about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, even last year I made a bet before the season starts. I picked everyone's darling, everyone's sweetheart, Kendra Miller, and I said CEH is going to outscore Kendra Miller, and he did. I mean, unfortunately, due to injuries, but he did, and that's probably exactly what's going to happen this year as well. CEH could possibly outscore him, but I'm more worried about Keaton Mitchell, like that speed and that explosivity in that backfield that's just as deadly as anything else that they have going for him, whether that's Zay Flowers, Lamar, Derrick Henry. So I'm a little more worried about that. And like as big as I am on Deneric Prince, like I love Rasheen Ali too. I mean, he's a bullet too. So there's so many reasons why I could be like more out on Derrick Henry. You know what you're gonna get out of Derrick Henry, but I'm kind of bullish on Pacheco this year.
Pacheco or Devon Achane, Hoov?
I would take Pacheco pretty easily.
Ryan.
It's crazy how much this ADP is lining up with my rankings, and I have not compared it yet. I would actually go Pacheco here. I have cooled tremendously on Achane.
Josh.
If I'm in a position to draft Pacheco, I'm going to draft Achane because of upside, plain and simple.
That's not a bad take. I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah, I have Pacheco like 7 spots higher than Achane, but what Achane brings to the table, give me that upside.
I'm just a safe boy. I'm kind of.
I'm with you on this one.
Yeah,
I like the consistency of Pacheco.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but it's the same thing. If I see if I hate everyone else in the draft board and it's those two, I'm probably taking Achane. Isiah Pacheco or Josh Jacobs, Hoov?
That's closer. I've kind of faded Josh Jacobs recently, so I'd go Pacheco as well.
Ryan.
There was Josh Jacobs coach speak, so he shot up my rankings. Josh Jacobs.
Of course there was. Josh.
This is Josh Jacobs very easily for me.
I do like Josh Jacobs as well. I really think that, I do think Marshawn Lloyd cuts into his stuff a little bit later on in the season. So, like, this is a go pair him with Marshawn Lloyd and trade Josh Jacobs in, like, week 5, in my opinion. And, like, get good value for
AJ
him.
Dillon. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think I'll fade AJ Dillon. I think
if it's a quad contest, AJ Dillon's the pick.
Listen,
Such confidence. I think I'm going to fade AJ Dillon.
Extreme confidence, actually. So extreme confidence. And I'm just going to, they're obviously, these guys are 2 full rounds apart. But let's just say you're drafting your RB2. You took a running back in the first round. Say you took Bijan, Jameer, whoever you want. You took a running back in the first round, not named McCaffrey. Would you rather take receivers in the second and third and wait to get Kamara, or would you take Isiah Pacheco as your second running back? Hoov.
I would wait and take Kamara.
Ryan.
Same thing. I have them so close to one another, it makes sense to wait on the value at Kamara. So
Josh.
Yeah, Kamara, easily.
You thought you were going to trap me. I see you, Jay. But I see right through it.
I always, the last one, every guest comes on and they say, I didn't think you were going to fucking ask that one. That's always what they say. That's why Would You Rather is a great game. Because.
That's why we invented it.
Yeah, it's why we invented it. Because I think notorious Alvin Kamara hater. And his stats prove it. He can't run between the tackles.
I was going to say, you have been so positive on Kamara this entire preseason.
Ryan, because where was he being drafted in previous years, obviously prior to last year?
I was going to say, so, hey, you're coming into my world. I don't hate players. I hate ADP.
No, let me be real. I hate Alvin Kamara in between the tackles. I don't think he's good in between the tackles, and there's stats that prove that. He has a below 4 yards per carry average over the last 3 years. That's not a coincidence. But Kendre Miller's now going to be there. And
yeah, but he's in the doghouse already. You kidding me?
I just need somebody to take carries in between.
So when they're talking about
tackles.
Taysom Hill, I'm about to shoot him up my rankings because he's about to have 100 carries.
That's fine. That's fine. Can I get somebody not named Alvin Kamara in between the tackles, and then Kamara can run off tackle and get catches? That's all I need. Because Kamara, the reason I bring him is Kamara at RB16 at the end of the 4th round is insane.
That's robbery.
That's insane, which is why I bring that up.
Easily have 100 targets.
Was that on Alvin Kamara, or is that on their extreme need of a tackle?
Oh, they need more than just one tackle, though.
Yeah, I was going to say
the interior of their line is pretty bad.
Yeah, Ryan's out again this year. Yeah, Ryan's out this year, so there's reason to believe that he's going to struggle again between the tackles. But you also know his upside too.
Could give him Trent Williams; he'd still struggle in between the tackles. He's just not built. He's not built like that guy. He's just not. He's not built like that, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
Just don't use him that way.
Just don't use him that way. That's it. Why did it work so well with Mark Ingram? Because they didn't use him that way. They used him off tackle and they used him in the passing game.
Sure.
That's my hope for him this year, because I think that's what's going to happen. And I think where he's being drafted 16, comparative to like RB4 2 years ago, that was a little much. So I'm chilling here. Let's move on to Rashee Rice. Josh, what's going to happen with Rashee? Is he getting suspended? Is he not? As someone who has him on his dynasty team, I'm hoping not. But what is the deal with Rashee Rice? Have you contacted the Dallas Police Department and called them specifically to check in on Rashee Rice, like we know previous fantasy football analysts have done in the past, to check in on their favorite local police department, to check in and make sure that guy is for real and that he's okay in that police department? Did that just pop into my head right now? Yes. Is it a top-tier joke? Yes. Is Rashee Rice playing week 1?
That will always be a top-tier joke in the fantasy industry.
Is Rashee Rice making an appearance week 1? Meh. What's he doing?
Honestly, I don't know, and I don't really care to know, because this exact same situation played out with Alvin Kamara this year, and that's why you were able to get, or last year, that's why you were able to get Kamara in the 9th round, and look what he did. From the moment he stepped on that field, I believe he was the RB3 in fantasy football because of the amount of receptions that he had over 14 games. What I do know is that Patrick Mahomes has zero issue throwing to Rashee Rice. He had 102 targets as a rookie last year. Those are the types of things you want to see from a rookie, especially from a high-end quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. He had a 77.5% catch rate. That is bonkers for a rookie. Absolute bonkers. Again, I don't care about the legal issue. What I do care is when Rashee Rice was officially the starter after week 7 last year, he was the wide receiver 17 in fantasy. He had 15.5 fantasy points per game. The competition here is Hollywood Brown. Hang on.
I just want to ask. Where did he go to school, real quick? Where did Rashee Rice?
Baby.
SMU, baby. Wide receiver university.
Baby.
Continue.
Yeah. Hollywood Brown has never had a fantasy season end with a higher points per game than 14.1. That already tells you that Rashee Rice is better for this offense than Hollywood Brown can be. Hollywood Brown is slated to play the Marquez Valdez-Scantling role. He is going to stretch the defense. That is what his speed allows him to do. Rashee Rice has 5 inches and 23 pounds on Hollywood Brown. You think he's really going to be a wide receiver 1? No, not going to happen.
5 inches is
Give
huge.
me all the Rashee Rice at wide receiver 37 prices, and I can get a top 20 wide receiver potentially. Give me that all day.
5 inches is huge. That's almost like a foot. Go ahead, Hoov.
Yeah.
There's 2 analysts that I want to quote and give them credit for these takes because they made really good points, and it's been ingrained into my head, and it will never leave now. And a while ago, Jagger May, he ended up saying that Rashee Rice just plays the most Patrick Mahomes style football.
Yeah,
and
that's
to
such
go
a
off
good
of Josh Hudson,
Like a receiver.
I mean, yeah, is like when
Unlike
you know,
anything
and
he's
then
had
to go
throughout his
off of,
NFL career.
and then
outside
the
of Tyreek
second,
Hill.
and then the second point is recently Herms, he brought up the point too, and he said that this feels almost similar to when Julian Edelman had his suspension, and then he had that dip in ADP, and everyone capitalized on it. And once he came back, he just shredded and won so many leagues. That just feels like Rashee Rice's like dip in like price, but he's not having a suspension. Like he's just going to be ready day one. So if you're getting Patrick Mahomes, wide receiver one, that plays the most his style, and you know that that's going to be like the wide receiver that he goes to the most often, sure, there's upside with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. They get a deep bomb, but if you're going off of like who you think is going to get the ball the most, it's the same reason why you're probably more in on Tank Dell in Houston. That's that you feel like he's just going to earn the most targets by having that connection. And I feel like Rashee Rice has that connection with Mahomes. So yeah, I couldn't be on Rashee Rice anymore. Even though I did trade him recently for basically Adonai Mitchell and a second round pick.
Ouch.
I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to pop in the chat right now. Drew Davenport's tweet. He actually covered this just a few days ago. If you're not following Drew, he is a actual attorney who dives into all of the NFL legal stuff. Plus, if you play in auction or salary cap leagues, a terrific follow for that alone. But the long and short is, with the case being where it is right now, it's unlikely he's getting suspended in 2024. So it's to the moon with Rashee Rice. Don't worry about it.
Especially at that value. Unreal.
Big news for my dynasty team. That's massive.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big news right there.
Drew doesn't guarantee anything. He dives into it, and he does a lot of work. He'll call attorneys from those states to figure out what they know about how the state will prosecute.
But Ryan, does he call the police department?
No, Drew knows what he's doing, plain and simple.
Okay.
And like I said, he's worth your follow first and foremost. And if you're going to be in the Canton area for the expo, as I know my boy Hoov is, they are also charity auctioning off 2 seats to the Football Guys expo kickoff tournament. You'll find all the details for that on Drew's site too. So again, I couldn't pump him up anymore. Drew Davenport FF on Twitter. Follow him.
Sponsor the show, Drew. We're giving you a lot of pub here.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think that's the most I've ever talked someone up.
I know. That's not on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. With him most likely playing all season, Ryan, how does that affect your love affair with Travis Kelce?
So again, I'll be the quick 30-second pitch. As the founder, the leader, the president of the Travis Kelce fan club, the draft value is no longer there, plain and simple. The other tight ends have caught up. Specifically, we are dealing with a top 5, if you believe me, a top 6 that are all roughly in the same tier. And the ADPs for these 6 players is so wildly different. Being the first guy to take Travis Kelce is probably not going to be your best bet this season. If he starts falling to the late 3rd, early 4th, you'll see him on more of my teams. But putting it bluntly, his ADP isn't going to get better. It's going to get worse. And what I mean by that is higher as we get into the seasonal drafters coming back. So I adore Travis Kelce. He is still in fantasy my ranked tight end 1. I don't think the gap is there to warrant the ADP that is going to come with the Travis Kelce name.
Why draft Travis Kelce when you can draft George Kittle?
Exactly. And George Kittle's but that's the thing though, is so Kittle's actually my 8. I have him 26 points behind Kelce as my rough projections right now. But the thing is, if Brandon Ayuk isn't in San Francisco, that 26 points is made up very easily. And so, again, I adore Travis Kelce. Don't take this wrong. I'm not giving up my spot on the bandwagon, but I will say my exposure this year will be greatly reduced.
Yeah, I have them about 80 points apart, Ryan.
Good Lord. I don't have my
Travis
stuff
Kelce
set up
to
for
the
full
fucking moon this year.
I say I don't have my stuff set up for full PPR. I'm guessing you do. I can do that real quick just for argument's sake.
But I mean, just from a points per game perspective, I have Kelce at 15.5 and Kittle at 10.7. Kittle always ends up doing better than what I project him at because injuries take place. And when I do my projections, I try not to bake in too much with injury risk, especially from position players, even though we all know it happens. but he's clear in a way the fourth target in this offense behind Debo, Ayuk, and CMC. So it's just one of those things for me, like the target share is only going to be so high. But he also had a huge spike in yards per reception last year that he hasn't had in a while. So
I was going to say, it's not like he's never had it. That used to be his
thing.
No,
I understand. Yeah. I mean, I have him at 13.1 yards per reception. It's not like I've like shortchanged him by any means.
Are we talking about Kittle or Kelce at this point?
Kittle.
Okay, because I'm like...
Kelce I have at 11.3 yards per reception.
Okay. But yeah.
He's actually the only tight end that I have projected to top 1,000 yards.
Full 49er arsenal, I would prefer Kelce over Kittle. Ayuk leaves... Kittle's going to shoot up my rankings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Agreed.
Wrapping up the Chiefs with the favorite bets here. Hoov, you have Mahomes 40-plus receiving touchdowns in the regular season is how it's written here inside of the show sheet. That's crazy. That's plus 500 for him to have 40-plus receiving touchdowns.
That stat, though, the passing touchdowns.
I like where the money lies. Sometimes you just got to risk it for the biscuit. And, sometimes, who knows? He's content with the money he's owed. Maybe he wants to switch it up a little bit and get paid more like a high-end wide receiver. So he wants to switch things up, go for 40 TDs.
Yeah, why not? Josh, you have Travis Kelce to have the most regular season receiving touchdowns. That includes receivers, correct?
Correct. That's everybody. Okay. That's why I said it's the tied for the 23rd highest odds. We've seen some massive spike touchdown seasons for Travis Kelce. And now they have like legitimate weapons that I feel like can actually catch the football in Kansas City. So he's going to have a lot of free reign here. And I'm really excited to see the kind of season.
Yeah, plus 4,000. That's fun.
That's what I'm saying.
And Ryan to have Xavier Worthless has the most rookie receiving yards at plus 1,200.
If I can bet on the rookie receiver with Travis Kelce, I'll throw $5 on it.
Why not? Right? Plus 1,200. Why not? He honestly, with Mahomes as quarterback, that's pretty decent odds. So that's pretty good odds there.